we're going to sing that in this morning. It is time for Living Low Sodium with Mary Schepp. Today, brought to you, of course, by ReesesBarkery.com. Reeses Barkery in Pawtique at 1313 North Riverside Drive, McHenry, Illinois, 815-363-7297 or Pause, 363-PAUSE. Your pets is their passion. Reese's loves 216-THE-NET and Living Low Sodium. Today, Mary, what's your friggin' dip?
What's my dip?
What's your dip?
Apparently it's spinach artichoke dip.
Oh, yeah?
That's what we're almost late starting the show because we're talking about spinach artichoke dip. Last week we were talking about fresh from the farm. So for those of you that obviously can't see because you're on the radio, or you can't see because Pete hides off camera now, I brought Pete some fresh tomatoes from my garden, and I should have taken a picture of the look on his face when he ate some of them, and flat out said that they just don't taste like tomatoes because when you're used to eating tomatoes from the grocery store, they really don't taste like tomatoes.
No, they're good.
They are
They're really good.
Really good. So I was going to we're going to do some trial runs with the grill, the little tiny grill that I bought for the studio before we try cooking some chicken. So instead, I just got some chicken from a local farm and made chicken soup for the studio. So Kent, if you're out there listening, you didn't eat the food that was in the fridge last week because you probably weren't listening to the show and didn't look in your fridge. But this week there's chicken soup in there if you want. So I'll probably have to text it.
To be fair, I think his mind was just on getting out to the woods last week.
Probably. He spends too much time in the woods.
Yeah. So
we're going to do a little bit of a trial run on some things before we try grilling in the studio on the air. We need to, if history is anything about us trying new things right when the show starts, it's that it usually goes poorly. So we're gonna plan ahead a little bit on that one. But I was thinking about it, and even though the whole zombie apocalypse and people are particular about getting together and all this stuff and social distancing and whatever, there are more and more and more people that are doing events and birthday parties. And fall is the season to have your Halloween get-togethers and barbecues and fires outside. And of course, Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas coming up and all of these holidays and excuses to have people over at your house to have get-togethers. I thought we would talk a little bit and revisit dips because I don't know, I'm addicted to dip. Given any time, you can look at my fridge and there's either a salsa, a guacamole, a pico de gallo, cucumbers. What's the other one I like? Water chestnuts.
yeah,
There's dip for just about anything, which is why I opened up and said we almost were late for the show because Pete was talking about vegetables of all things.
Yeah, actually I was.
Which is funny to me because spinach artichoke dip it's one of those staples at a party. Almost always there's either a spinach, an artichoke, or a combination of the both that's in one of those sweet Hawaiian roll loaves.
Yeah.
So the loaf is the bowl, and then you use the bread to dip the dip. And that has been, I'm pretty sure that started as a tastefully simple thing.
Really?
Because they have a mix that you can just...
When you dig out like that round bread.
Yep. That's Hawaiian.
Rip all the people. No.
Rip all the people out of the bread.
Yeah,
Woo! I think Pete needs some more coffee this morning.
I do. I've been up since 3:45. When you rip all of the
4:30, I think.
The loaves.
Yeah.
You don't rip the little pieces. Good Lord. I wanted to say the pieces of the bread. I'm just going to let you do your show now. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to get this shared out where it needs to go. You don't need me for banter today. I'm worthless for banter. Yeah, you're toasted.
But dips are, so it's funny because when you mention spinach artichoke dip, the first thing, because of course I got to razz Pete a little bit, is be like, oh, I bet you any money that store-bought. Let's see what it is. Let's look it up and see what the nutrition is. And surprisingly enough, his spinach artichoke dip his lovely wife gets from Sam's Club.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm going to go buy. I actually have to go to Sam's Club after the show today for a couple things. So I'm going to grab some just to see how it is, because it's, as far as dips go, and especially store-bought dips, it's 170 milligrams of sodium. Now, granted, that's for 2 tablespoons, so if you eat half the tub, you might be blowing that out, so you got to watch your portion size a little bit. 2 grams of protein, and even more impressively, 0 added sugars. So, I mean, spinach and artichokes and just inherently the sour cream base and stuff that they use to make it has its own sugars. And the one thing that I love about labels is they are now required to post or list both the regular sugars and the added sugars. So when you get like a juice or something, if it says 20 grams of sugar, which is high, but it doesn't have any added sugar, it just means that all of the sugars are from the fruits that they use to make the juice, which still is a lot of sugar, but it's better than having water that somebody just dumped a bunch of sugar into to make sweet.
Yeah.
When they actually come from the product, it is better for you. So I was actually pretty surprised at your store-bought spinach artichoke dip, because the last time I tried buying it, it was really high, and then I went home and made my own and ended up making a spinach water chestnut dip, because I love water chestnut.
Yeah, and it's nice. It's very creamy, and there are big chunks of artichoke in it. That's what I like. And I didn't even know the spinach was actually in there, because I had it at my in-laws, and no one told me what I was dipping. It was just,
which is the only reason that you ate 2 vegetables in one dish.
It is, yeah. So it is absolutely, because if someone said, "Hey, this is spinach artichoke dip," just like my wife was like, here's some spinach artichoke dip.
Hell no.
I'm like, no, I don't want that. She's like, I'm like, I don't like spinach. I don't want that. And she's like, you've already had it and you liked it. I'm like, I did. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. All right. I'll try it again.
I love your wife. I haven't even met your wife, but I love your wife. I love the fact that she keeps you in line and makes you eat vegetables.
No, I mean, she got your name too. So
this is true.
You guys have that in common.
This is very true.
She's a Mary Catherine, though.
I am a Mary Jean.
A Mary Jean?
Mary Jean.
Yep.
So the dips are, per why I was trying to give Pete crap about having spinach artichoke dip, is they tend to be high in sodium and high in fat and high in sugar because of what they're made of. So it doesn't mean that you can't have them. You just have to be mindful of what you have or make them yourself. So the biggest thing is a lot of homemade dips, like the Tastefully Simple stuff that you can buy, or you can buy the seasoned packet. They use cream cheese, and cream cheese is 90 milligrams per ounce for sodium. So pretty much about every tablespoon of cream cheese is 90 milligrams. So you're usually, at least for me, I'm heavy on the cream cheese. If I have a bagel, it's 2 servings on the bagel, and the bagel itself is usually 400 or 500 milligrams of sodium just for a plain bagel, which is why I stopped eating bagels. And bread is surprisingly, unless you make it, as we learned with Kim Nordine, unless you make it with milled flour, or you're buying hearty, whole grain, denser breads.
Which I actually like that now.
Me too. I prefer rye.
Rye's good.
I love rye.
Rye's good, but my wife's been getting this stuff with twigs and nuts and stuff in it. Yeah.
The chunky bread.
Yeah, but it's good.
Right.
Which surprised, because I've been long been the white bread all the way.
Wonder Bread kid.
Yeah, Wonder Bread kid.
And it's horrible for you.
Yeah.
It is nothing but sugar and carbs, and it's wasted calories.
Yeah.
The nutritional content
so good.
It is. It's like fluffy. It's great, especially since all of us have grown up on that.
Yeah.
Being told that this is what you eat, and this is what you make your sandwiches out of, and this is absolutely horrible for you to eat, nutritionally void.
Yeah. But I do like the brown bread with the nuts and twigs and sticks and such in it is not too bad.
Same. I mean, the one that I have the picture of all of the loaves of bread that I make on my page all the time, that's a honey wheat.
Yeah.
So That's the problem with dips, though, is they're usually made with a cream cheese, or they have stuff in them that is high in sodium, or you just flat out add salt to them, which is problematic. So I've come to start using sour cream or yogurt, or a combination of the two, simply because it is lower in sodium. Yeah, that's the honey wheat baguette.
Okay.
So it's the funny thing is literally sour cream and honey has become my base for a plethora of dips and salads now. So I make a cucumber salad with cucumbers and onions, and it's literally sour cream and honey, and then whatever spice I feel like using. That's it. Who do we got?
Remit says, I guess this is a question. Is it true that the business elites of Europe lowered the sugar level in humans to boost the business of sugar-related medicines? Exclamation point, although it sounds like a question written. Although the sugar levels in human blood are different in different countries, and Na, sodium, weakens bones if taken in excess.
So it's funny because speaking of when you take sodium in excess and it weakens your bones, I legitimately just read a study that they had the results of a high sodium diet, or HSD, resulted in tumor reduction, significant tumor reduction. Like, we need to research this and use this shit for cancer. Significant tumor reduction in mice. Obviously, that stage of trials, they have a long way to go before it treats anything else. And that article also said that a high sodium diet has been proven to, increase your risk of heart disease, blah, 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 and all these other things, cardiovascular problems, and so on and so forth, hypertension and whatnot. So they're still learning the effects of sugar and sodium and all of these other things on the body. But it is true. And part of it is simply evolution. And we've talked about that in the past too, where if your heritage is one of Asian descent, where you eat a lot of fish,
right,
and a lot of grains, and not a lot of beef, and not a lot of dairy, and so on and so forth, and then you move to the States, where we're, potatoes and cheese, dairy products, beef, less seafood, and suddenly you've discovered, your kids are lactose intolerant in this. They probably always were. But genetically, evolutionarily, you're over generation, your body and your systems and your biome, as they call it, has evolved to digest and deal with those things, to create the amino acids, to break down whatever it is that you consume and turn them into usable goods. It's no different than, koalas live on eucalyptus leaves, but if you tried feeding that to your cat's going to go blind and be nutritionally deficient and die.
Yeah, right.
Because they have not evolved to digest and extract nutrients needed from that. So it's the same with the sugar levels and so on and so forth. And they are seeing spikes because obviously in the United States, we have a serious obesity issue. And we live on sugar, big gulps and Starbucks. And I know that it's ironic that I have a Starbucks here, but mine's a latte. So it's cream and 18 million shots of coffee.
Yeah.
Because I get a quad shot. So it's a lot of espresso.
A quad shot latte?
Right. That's pretty much what I drink.
Is that how you order that?
Mm-hmm.
Give me a quad shot latte.
It's always funny because whenever I order my drink, inevitably the person in front of me is like, I want a non-fat soy with extra whip and a foam and sugar and 3 pumps of this, 4 pumps of that, 2 pumps of this, none of this, and no straw.
You know how I order at Starbucks if I have to go to Starbucks?
Pumpkin spice latte, please.
No, actually, at Starbucks, if I have to go there, because I don't actually like Starbucks. I really don't. I don't like their
If I didn't
coffee.
have points,
I walk up to the counter and they go, "What can I get you?" I go, "You got hot coffee in a pot over there?" And they're like, "Yeah, pour that in your biggest cup and give it to me." That's how I order at Starbucks.
That's funny.
Put your hot coffee
in a big cup
and give me a bill.
Yep.
I don't want to. I don't like the only place I'll really go get like the pumpkin spice latte stuff is like Dunkin' Donuts. I like their pumpkin spice coffee. I really, really do.
Yep.
Or Conscious Cup up in Crystal Lake. And now that we've said all these names, you can send your checks to 216 the net. Make them out to
sponsorships.
Sponsorships. Make them out to Mary Schepp.
I actually, in all honesty, I do enjoy Conscious Cup. They have a sweet honeybee latte. It's got lavender and honey in it. It's absolutely amazing. I do like. I mean, I get my lattes from both Starbucks and Dunkin', depending on who I have points for and where they're at. But in all honesty, my favorite latte in the area has to be Aroma. I don't know why. I don't know what it is or how it is that something about the balance and the coffee that they use and the way that they make it. My absolute favorite latte is Aroma in downtown Crystal Lake. So they also usually have these like spiced nut things that are amazing.
Have you been to that restaurant in Cary that when I first came out here in the early 90s was simply the Cary restaurant? But it's over there on 14. And it's Egg something now. Eggville?
Yeah.
Okay. They actually, if you go in and order a mocha, crap, I'm going to mess this up.
Mocha something or other?
Yeah, mocha something or other. Mocha cinnamon. Mocha cinnamon latte that's hot. Like hot.
Mm-hmm.
It is friggin' phenomenal.
I'll have to try that.
And this is true. That's my mom there. Orange was always your favorite color. Yes.
Pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
So one of my notes because I kind of stole some notes from previous show because we've talked about dips before. I usually talk about them every fall because people like to talk about dips. And there's a couple notes that I have made here about change and how it's not easy. And most things that are worth it aren't easy. Lifestyle is to change that is a big deal, to change your lifestyle. And to change a habit, it takes a lot of exposure. And what I think is you need to think about how many times you need to expose something to a child before they start to accept it. So when kids don't like broccoli or beans or peas or cheese or chocolate or whatever the hell it is that they don't like, they need to be exposed to it, both in just purely the fact of I need to see mom with a coffee enough times before I accept the fact that coffee is an okay thing. It's how your brain works. It's how it learns. It's how you learn what's poisonous and not poisonous in the wild and so on and so forth and all of these lovely things. So the amount of times that you have to be exposed to something before you accept it is quite a few. So that's ingrained in your psyche from a very young age. It's instinctual. So as you grow older and you want to make a change, it's like 21 or 27 days in a row that you have to do that. So if you want to get up, it's 6:00 every morning instead of 6:30 or 7 or 10 or whatever it is, you need to force yourself. So if you want to change and you want to change your lifestyle, so you want to drink less soda or you want to eat less sugar, or you want to eat less sodium, you need to be consistent with that action for 21 days before it becomes a culture or a habit within yourself. So regardless of what it is or how simple it is. So when you talk about things like addiction or and the reason why I say addiction is because you don't think of sugar or salt as an addiction, and it's an addiction. If you told me that addiction is a joke and you know it's just in your head and it's a choice, which is true, it is a choice. I implore you, I challenge you to give up sugar or salt for 30 days and then come back and report your results, because it is hard. It is very hard. And I don't care, like, if it's just, I won't use a salt shaker. Not I'm going to give up salt entirely. I'm just going to not use a salt shaker, or I'm not going to use added sugars. Like, when you have an illness such as myself, where you don't have a choice, there is no, you can kind of sort of drink alcohol every once in a while. There's nothing. I had to quit smoking, quit drinking. There's no choice. And if you choose to continue to do that, it's to your own detriment. And I know that this is a dip show, but the reason I say that is because those kinds of things like dips and ice creams, and people don't, they take justifiable license to not do things. You make excuses.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do it next week. I'll only cut down half, or I'll do it on Sundays, or I'll do that. Like, you make all of these justifications.
Or, this was a rough day. I'm going to have what I want to have.
I was really good yesterday, so I'll do it today.
Yeah.
And then you fail, and you set yourself up for failure. But if you realize that if you, instead of focusing on the things that you can't have and trying to make excuses for what you should or shouldn't do, if you take the path of, I'm going to find out how to do this and how to be successful, and how can I have ice cream? So I still have ice cream. And the reason why I go to places like Julienne's, it's still high in sugar. It's still higher in fat, but it is real product. They make their custard in-house. When they put stuff like strawberries and blueberries and whatever in their shakes, it's from a farm in the area. So if it's going to be something that is on the side of, maybe I shouldn't.
I like their truck.
I know, their little vintage VW. It's awesome. I'm so glad that Pete and Lynn got that. I just bought Julienne's the other day for my crew, because we had a
I saw your picture that you popped up on there.
So the irony, I thought this was, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was hilarious, even though it's kind of sad. Half my team, because I bought them Julie bars. So it's custard dipped in chocolate on a stick.
Okay.
And half my crew opened the package and stood over the counter to eat it real quick in the break room, took a bite into it, and it fell off the stick.
Oh, no.
So my assistant store manager says, mine fell in the garbage. I was like, oh, that's sad, Panda. So there's an extra one, but I couldn't help it. I was dying laughing. Like, you just picture this little boy eating his ice cream. Aww. It's like, did you scoop it up off the floor?
Poor kid.
It was absolutely hilarious.
You got to keep those frozen, I guess.
Yes, they do have to stay frozen. And that's the problem, is they were too frozen. So as soon as you bit into it, it cracked in half instead of just taking a bite out of it. And it fell off the stick.
They should have
I know.
with their hand underneath it or something.
Well, I anytime.
But how are you going to know? Right. How are you going to know? So.
But that's the thing. Like, you can still have, and that's what I did. It
sad
wasn't
panda. I like that.
I always said sad panda. I don't know where I got it from.
That's funny.
So mostly because I just picture like a big fat panda sitting there like, oh.
Yeah.
So that's anytime I'm sad, that's what I say. I'm a sad panda. And pandas never look sad. They're just cute and fuzzy. So that would be the ultimate sad thing, is to see a sad panda.
I guess it would, wouldn't it? That would be very sad. Okay, we've digressed.
Right,
severely.
We've digressed all the way to sad pandas.
Sad panda. Where were we? We were.
So it's not that you can't have. That's when I'm looking at dips and stuff. And the first time I wanted to go buy a dip, like you bought the spinach and artichoke dip from Sam's Club, and I looked at it, I was like, holy crap. And of course, like anything else, when you try to make a change, you say, oh, I'm going to have less sugar or whatever. I'm going to pick a better pop to drink. And you look at the back of a soda can and realize that, holy crap, this is not something that I should be consuming. It can be difficult and disheartening. And that's exactly every one. I looked at sour cream and onion and French onion and garlic dip, and every dip that I found, it's 300, 400, 500 milligrams per serving. And a serving was 2 tablespoons, which who in their right mind eats 2 tablespoons? That's 2 chips worth of dip.
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe 4 if you're a light dipper.
Yeah.
I'm not a light dipper. My chip is a spoon, and I'm a shoveler.
Yeah, but I've shifted over. I've not had. I take it back. I had a small pack because I have these little packets of chips if I happen to bring my lunch, which
Right.
I forgot to today. I have Mary Catherine got these like they're the bags of like the Fritos and the Doritos but they're just a tiny little pack. It's truly like a bit of a snack.
It is. It's like 5 chips in there.
5 chips in there. But when I sit down at home now, I'm actually sitting down with cauliflower, broccoli, and carrots, and that's what goes in my dip. And it took me a while to be okay with that.
Armageddon is coming. Pete is snacking on cauliflower.
Yeah, I'm the sign of the end times. When Pete eats vegetables.
I was going to say, I think I'm going to start stockpiling water.
You better. Yeah. So now the only other thing you have to worry about is if I actually start eating fruit. But
well, you are.
I mean, this is
tomatoes are fruit.
It's I suppose these are good too. They really
and they are. They're like
They're
berries.
really good. They are.
So, and it's funny because as green as those big tomatoes are, that's like last week when we were talking about the distribution chain and how long it takes to get tomatoes to you, 45, 50 days.
Now, should I leave these out or put them in the fridge over there?
The tomatoes don't go in the fridge.
Okay.
So when you...
you talked about that last week.
When you put tomatoes in the fridge, I mean, so technically you can refrigerate tomatoes. But it's very specific because a lot of times a refrigerator has ups and downs and it gets too cold. And then it changes the texture of the tomato and it makes it mealy. So if you've ever gone to Subway and the tomatoes are squishy, that's why it's gotten too cold.
Okay.
So with tomatoes, your best bet is literally just to leave them out on a counter. So as long as it's not 90 degrees in your house, you're better off just leaving them out and they'll ripen. Which you can also eat them green. I actually like fried green tomatoes.
Saw that movie. I think I actually saw that movie with my mom.
Yeah, that's also a good movie.
That was an old movie. Time ago.
That's an old movie.
Long time ago.
It's funny how many people are surprised that I do water chestnuts in a dip.
I think that would be good.
So they stay crunchy.
Yeah.
So it's got that bite to it.
Yeah, it gives you a little texture there.
And I use it in a lot of dips, whether it's garlic dip, onion dip, spinach dip. Especially since artichokes are really expensive, I tend to make a spinach and water chestnut dip because it's less expensive and it's easier for me to find. And water chestnuts, most of the time, are stored in water, so they're low sodium, whereas artichokes are usually high sodium.
Okay.
But the big thing is stay away from the seasoned packets. Those are your salt bombs because they literally are just salt. The ranch packets typically are, over 2,000 milligrams of sodium in each packet. Onion dip is like 5,000. So every time someone tells me that they got a recipe or they're going to share food with me, and they're like, oh, I didn't add any salt. It's just, a pot roast, a packet of onion seasoning, soup mix, and vegetables. Well, that packet of soup mix.
Those are very salty. They are.
Bomb. Absolute salt bomb.
Now, what about, I may be skipping ahead on you here.
Oh, you're fine.
What about sweet dips? Because this time of year, as of, of course, y'all know I'm a hipster doofus for some pumpkin spice. But have you ever done pumpkin dip?
Mm-hmm.
Because I actually really love that. And it doesn't have to be full of sugar. You can get the non-sugary stuff to make it.
So I have made in the past a vanilla pumpkin spice mascarpone. So it's thick and creamy, like a cream cheese dip that you can get for apples and fruit and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's rich and fatty because that's what mascarpone is. It's an Italian version of our cream cheese.
Yeah.
But with pumpkin spice and vanilla, and it's actually really, really, really tasty.
Because I've gotten, what I like to do is I get the pumpkin pie filler.
Yep.
And dump that in a bowl, and then you can use, like the real Cool Whip or whipped cream or whatever, or you can get like the non, the low sugar or whatever you call it.
Right.
And then a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of cinnamon, and a little bit of usually a block of cream cheese, and because that gives it a little bit more thickness.
Yep.
But you mix that all up, and that I can dip graham crackers and anything in that all day. I prefer graham crackers for that, but I could dip stuff in that all day long. I just dip my fingers, as a matter of fact. But
so the only reason why I use mascarpone versus cream cheese is mascarpone is 5 milligrams of sodium per serving,
okay,
and cream cheese is 90 milligrams.
Whoa!
So if I use mascarpone, which I have a recipe, I'm pretty sure it's on my website somewhere, for a grape pecan. I don't know. You might have to go to the recipe page up.
You can keep talking. I was just going to see if I could find it.
You're distracted. Oh, see, now I want to make coffee cake because he's showing me a picture of my coffee cake on my website.
That looks really
good.
But
it's mascarpone, honey, and then it's with grapes and walnuts. It's so unbelievably good. But those kinds of sweet dips my cheat is that I think it might be under desserts. The Jezebel dip, that was kind of a sweet, spicy dip. You guys loved that one.
Yeah, I think you brought that, didn't you?
I did. There it is, grape salad. And the one in the middle.
Oh, this one right here?
Yep. So it's grapes and apples and pecans. But when I use sugar, my cheat is to use honey. Unless I'm baking like cookies or something that actually bakes, because honey doesn't bake the same. It doesn't chemically respond the same as sugars do when you're baking breads or cookies or pastries or whatever. So it's depending on what you're making, you might not always be able to substitute honey for sugar. That being said, when I'm making a sweet dip like you're talking about, I tend to use honey because, yes, it is still sugar. It is high in sugar. And they still cannot figure out why it is good for you. It's one of those things where honey is the benefits of honey are proven, but they don't know why. Every single study, every single anecdotal thing, throughout history, it's why people have braved getting stung by a million bees to stick their hand in a honey pot and eat honey.
Yeah.
And
it just amazed. I mean, the first person who said, "You know what sounds good," and another person goes, "No, what?" And I go, "Bee spit."
Yeah, it's bee vomit.
Yeah, we should really try that.
Yep. Well, I mean, if you start researching things and where they come from, don't research cologne. Don't research gelatin.
No.
There's so many things that, trust me, you don't want to know. You just don't.
No.
But yeah, honey is essentially bee vomit that bees use to feed their young and themselves in the hive. But it is unbelievably, it has health properties and it's good for, I mean, granted, you can't just live off the stuff because it is a sugar bomb.
It is.
So if I'm going to use sugar, I use honey instead, simply because of the fact that if I'm going to put something bad in, I'm going to get the good out of it too. And along the lines of fruit is good for you, juice is not. Because fruit is balanced. Even though it's sugar and fiber and vitamins and all of these things wrapped in a tiny little package that is nutritionally balanced. When you make juice out of it, you're literally just taking the water and the sugar out of the fruit. So all of the vitamins and, all the good stuff is in the fruit. And you left the pulp and you left the fiber and you left all of the good stuff and you just took the bad, which is why it's not good for you. And on top of that, most juice is tart. And people don't like that. My husband does. I can buy the nice, expensive, actual cranberry concentrate that's just cranberry.
Yeah.
Like the ingredient is cranberry. That's it. And we both do. We mix it with soda water. And it's almost like a cocktail. It's almost like a cranberry vodka because the soda water is bitter.
Have you actually done that with vodka?
Cranberry vodka?
You
Years.
don't anymore.
Not anymore,
not
but yeah.
anymore,
Oh yeah, we both used to drink cranberry vodka all the time.
That's good.
I
like cherry as well.
Same.
With that. Yeah.
But normally you look at juice and it's just packed with sugar. And it's the same, a lot of these dips, you would think like, why is there sugar in this? Well, sugar and salt is what makes flavors pop.
Yeah.
And that's what people like. And the chemical response in your brain when you eat sugar is why we have an obesity problem. And it's why it's so hard to give up sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Because throughout evolution, sugar is free energy.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to fight for it. You didn't, like, anytime you find something sweet, because when you think about the amount of places that sugar is found naturally in the world, fruits, honey, the vast majority of people throughout history, they didn't get to have pineapple or apples or berries. So when you found those things, it's a free energy bomb. So when it comes to the cost of caloric expenditure and how many calories I have to burn to kill a pig, to eat the pig, or to grow vegetables, or to hunt fish, or to do whatever, the amount of calories you got to burn versus eating a tablespoon of honey or a handful of berries is why our brain is chemically structured to say, ooh, I need more of that.
Yeah.
Because it was a boost of energy. But now, in a world where everything is at your fingertips, you're essentially like the rat hitting the morphine button.
Yeah.
And I just ate my M&Ms and now I want Oreo cookies. Which I say that because this girl did that the other day.
Yeah.
In my defense, I have a bucket of candy on my desk. And I'm not kidding you. It's like a 16-inch bucket of candy. And we keep it filled. The bags of like mini M&Ms, Hershey Kisses, chocolate bars, whatever that you can buy at the grocery stores. We sell them at the store.
And where's your desk?
Right. So I keep it stocked. And it's not just for me. It's for my whole crew. So everybody knows they can just go in my office and steal a piece of candy from time to time. Because working in retail, every once in a while, you need a chocolate bar.
You need something. Yeah. You need a little chocolate. Yeah. I could imagine.
So I happen to have one of our vendors brought in some snacks and they had little Oreo packets.
Mm-hmm.
And I ate the Oreo cookies and then I was looking in my pocket and I had M&Ms in my pocket. Not like loose M&Ms, one of those little packets like you give out at Halloween. So I did. I was like, oh, I just had Oreo cookies. Well, why not? I want M&Ms too. So, like I said, just because you live a lifestyle that is healthy doesn't mean that you can't have your cookies too.
No, and when also you live a lifestyle that historically has not been healthy, hence the roundness around my middle. Because Mary Catherine also gave me the other day a little packet of the raspberry coconut zingers, but it was a little packet. There was only 3 in there. It wasn't a box, which if I'm going to buy Twinkies, of course, my absolute favorite, or raspberry zingers or anything like that, I'm buying like, big box. But if you just buy the little packet, you're done.
Yep.
And you're not walking around. And as a matter of fact, last night after dinner, wherein I ate fake meat, it was actually not bad. I was surprised.
It's not that it's not bad. It's what it's made of.
I haven't questioned. I don't want to know. I don't really care. It went.
But for
in
someone
my mouth,
like you,
and it tasted.
That can't have beef.
Yeah,
it is a means to a good end.
Yeah, and it texture a little different, but it worked. It tasted good. I was happy. A cheese naan burger.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Don't want to know what it is.
To me, all of the non-burger stuff, it just tastes like an overcooked burger.
And
like the texture of it is just like it tastes like it, but
it actually isn't. It's like anyway, we're going to digress again.
Right, we're going to go off on burgers.
Yeah, my whole point was she actually brought out those little 6-packs of the chocolate donuts. She took 3 and she gave me 3. And I'm sitting there looking at it for a moment like, the frick am I going to do with 3 little chocolate donuts? I'm going to eat them. And then I was fine.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. I had the flavor. I had the taste.
Yep.
It was good. And now I have my tea because I was having tea last night.
I love tea.
Yeah, I like tea too.
But that's the thing is,
it's good.
And it's funny because once you start changing a habit, it's amazing how easy it gets.
Yeah.
So a year ago, there's no way you would have bet money you wouldn't be sitting down eating cauliflower as a snack.
No. Mm-mm.
And it's no different. So when
I'd have told you to go pound sand.
Right. So when I make portions, I tend to, and giving you tomatoes, like that is exactly why I keep grapes in a Ziploc bag on my desk. Because that habit of wanting to snack or wanting to eat or wanting something to eat, or if somebody else has something sweet or someone brings lunch in the building and it smells like French fries or whatever, and that trigger in my brain to eat something. So when I go in and out of my office 15,000 times a day, when I have a pack of cashews or, chocolate covered almonds or grapes, and I pop 2 of those in my mouth, it's enough to satisfy that feeling of eating something. It's still got a little bit of sweetness and it's got that pop. So it feels like I'm eating something.
Yeah, it does.
So when you want to change a habit, if you think of things like that to make you successful, if you want a dip, so the amount, it's funny because when I make spinach water chestnut dip that my husband and I eat, it's a load. We love garlic. And if you don't like garlic, don't come to my house. Because I don't think I've ever used a single clove of garlic in anything. It's always like 16 of them.
I.e. no vampires allowed.
Right. But it's sour cream, water chestnuts, onions, garlic, and then whatever spice I feel like throwing in there. Because I have all of Dak's spice blends. I actually buy them by the pound now. So if you want them, dakspices.com. They are amazing. They have a ranch spice. They have an everything bagel spice. Actually, it's everything but the salt is what it's called. But it tastes like everything bagels. You dump it in some sour cream, add some garlic and onion, and you will go through the entire tub. It's amazing. And sour cream is 20 milligrams a serving versus mayonnaise at 80 or 90. And then, yes, I know you can find some mayonnaise at 70 milligrams, but that, again, is for 2 tablespoons. So when you find other options, and I know, regardless of whether or not the sodium is high or low, you shouldn't be eating 2 cups of sour cream or 2 cups of mascarpone simply because it's low sodium. But if you do like you're saying, where if you want dip, instead of eating it out of the bowl, because if you had the chance and you eat straight out of the bag of chips, just about any one of us can eat the whole bag of chips or close to it.
Yeah.
However, if you put some chips in your hand or chips on a plate,
yep,
and you eat them that way, so if you put a couple tablespoons or 3 tablespoons, you're a little bit more than a single serving, but you put it on a plate, you put your chips on a plate, maybe throw a couple grapes or tomatoes or something on there with it. Now all of a sudden you have a snack that is calorically balanced, especially if you get some kind of potato chip or chip that is a better option. Like the Wheat Thins or the Triscuits or plain potato chips.
Yeah, just plain.
Even if they're salted. I eat salted potato chips all the time. Or
really?
Tortilla chips.
Yeah.
They're just lightly salted because now that I have an unsalted palate, if I ate a full salt potato chip, it would literally physically burn my mouth.
Wow.
My mouth, the structure, my salinity level, it's just not meant for that much sodium. It will.
What about those veggie straw things? Because I actually have those.
They're high in sodium.
Are they?
Mm-hmm. Because I love those.
I like them, and I actually have some of those right now.
I love those,
and I have dipped those in the spinach artichoke dip as well.
I absolutely love those.
Because at first I'm like, veggie straws? What
is like I'll eat a whole bag of those buggers.
It's like styrofoam. And I'm like, no, because I look at it, it's like, this looks like somebody just handed me a little stick of styrofoam.
And they're
good. But they're good.
They're covered in seasoning and salt, but they are. I love those things so much.
I was surprised. I do like them.
So yeah, you can find, when you start doing those things of making those changes and making those decisions to say, okay, it's the easiest way to have portion control. Because whenever you eat out of the vessel that it came in,
you're done.
You overeat. Hands down, doesn't matter, you overeat. It doesn't help that all of our plates are made way too big. So we fill them.
Yeah.
And when you fill it, it's way more servings, way more food than you're supposed to have. And trust me, I am aware of the fact that for the entire history of this show, I've griped about serving sizes. And I still gripe about serving sizes. Because the only reason why they put that is because then if they say 2 tablespoons, because they know you're going to eat 6 tablespoons of salsa or more. But the reason they put 2 tablespoons is because then they can say it's under 100 calories, or it's under this amount of sugar, or it's under this. So it's low calorie, low sodium, low fat, low whatever the hell they want to say that it is, so that you will eat it. And it wasn't until there was serious pushback that they started listing what a serving is and what the entire container is. Because people will eat an entire container of soup or an entire bottle of soda.
Yeah.
That one always cracked me up. There's 3 servings in a 20-ounce soda. Really? 3?
3. Yeah.
Who does that? Same with bread. Who eats
gosh.
a serving is a slice of bread. And all of it comes down to ounces. You're supposed to eat 3 to 4 ounces is a serving. So depending on what you're eating, but yet lunch meat, they list it as 1 or 2 ounces is a serving. Why? Because the nutritional information would be skyrocketed and no one would eat it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So
look at if you want a bologna. Bologna is full of bologna.
Bologna is full of bologna, and bologna is delicious.
It is. It's not. That is not a good for you product.
So
but it's tasty.
When it comes to lunch meat, I predominantly get boar's head, because boar's head has an actually very good, flavorful, low sodium line. And instead of bologna, I will get mortadella. I don't get the one with pistachios, but mortadella is bologna. It's just Italian bologna.
Yeah.
But it's got little chunks of fat in it.
Yeah, it's really good.
And it melts in your mouth.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's pork fat melting in your mouth, but it is pork
really
fatty deliciousness.
Yeah, it's really good.
Which,
yay, pork fat.
I was going to say that this will make you happy. On another digression, I believe next weekend I am taking a butcher class.
Yeah, you talked about that before.
And I get to keep the pork. So I will bring some in to share with the station. Because I'm sorry, if you haven't had pork or beef or chicken fresh from the farm, you are missing out.
Maybe we can put it on the grill you brought in.
Possibly.
So we'll see how that works.
So yeah, no, this is dip season. You guys are big Halloween people, aren't you?
I am. Kent, not so much. Well, he doesn't like costumes and masks. He doesn't mind the decorations. I think he has a hard time with the concept of adults dressing up or wearing a mask.
Has he been out in public? Because it seems people just dress up on a daily basis now.
I'm telling you, right? But I don't know if it just creeps him out or what, but he does not like
some
masks.
childhood issues there. I think I'm sensing.
Could be, but holiday is true. Holiday. See, that's Halloween to me is the only holiday.
Right.
It is my one religious holiday of the year. Truly, completely, entirely.
I love
absolutely.
Halloween. My neighbor already has. I mean, in her defense, she loves skulls, like Day of the Dead type skulls.
Yeah.
So there's like a 10-foot flashy light purple skull on the side of her house.
Wow.
Which, lucky for her, me and Ben are fine with that kind of stuff. So I mean, literally, if you look out my front door, I'm staring right at a big giant purple flashy skull. Which, if it was any other neighbor, I could see them like calling the local authorities and be like, "You're gonna make her take it down." Which I woke up this morning and saw it, was like, that's pretty cool. I like that. I also want to get a matching one. But I just love the fall season, not because of the cold, because everybody knows I hate cold, but because of the potlucks and the dips and the parties and the get-togethers. And even if it's just like 2 or 3 people, up until the apocalypse, I played bunco once a month with my girlfriends. And just that 5 or 6 of us, eating dip and whatever we had, tacos, sloppy joes. We'd always make one big thing.
Yeah.
And then have dips and chip and whatever. And just, that's my happy place, is around. And I think that's a lot of people's happy place, is around a kitchen island chatting with their, a couple of friends.
I love my dining room table. We actually have our dining room back.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
The new place?
Well, the rabbits have been moved to the basement.
Well, that's good.
There's a whole story, but my happy place is at my dining room table, and I've not had one in many, 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 many years.
That's
love
fantastic.
My dining room table.
Well, that's good.
I really do.
I was actually contemplating tearing down one of my cabinets above our island, or peninsula, as it were. It's not an island. There's these two cabinets, and when you're standing there, they're right at nose level.
Okay.
So, and they serve no purpose. We don't need them. We have so much cabinet and storage space. I have 3 pantries in my house.
Wow.
3 pantries. I have one that is a cabinet, like a built-in pantry that you can buy, that stands next to my refrigerator. I have a walk-in pantry off the side next to the laundry room, and I have another walk-in pantry around the corner that we call the cantry, because it houses most of my canned goods and pastas and stuff like that. So we thought it was hilarious that when we moved, that I have a place, like the foodie girl has a house now that's got 3 pantries. So these cupboards above, they're turning into junk cupboards. They serve no purpose.
Okay.
So I might tear them down today, just because when I am cooking, every time I lean forward,
Oh, you bang your head.
I hit my head. Ben is smart enough to have learned by now, so you see him like he's got muscle memory to duck.
Yeah.
Me? No. I'm kneading bread.
You need to leave
your
your hat on when you're in the kitchen.
Well, maybe.
Your bill will protect your head.
It's funny because this hat is starting to get worn. This is my favorite hat. My stepmom got it for me when I was down in Florida. I don't even know, 2017, 18, something like that. But it is absolutely my favorite hat. And it was funny because we both laughed, because we're kind of cheap people. We always look for a sale, always look for a deal. And we bought it at Disney.
Oh,
so
really?
It was like $9 million for this hat.
Yeah.
But it was perfect, and I loved it. And she's like, I don't care, you're buying it. So she bought me this hat at Disney World. But I'm going to have to make a trip down to Florida and buy another one, because I don't know what it is. It's soft.
What's the 71 stand for?
It's something with Mickey Mouse. I have no idea.
Oh, maybe it was on his 71st birthday or year. Or
something like that. I don't know. It's soft. So a lot of times when I wear a hat and you get sweaty, it starts to itch at the brim on your forehead. Yeah. And I don't know. So it's my favorite hat. So I'm gonna have to fly to Florida to visit my dad and my stepmom, just so I can get another baseball hat. So all of these potlucks and stuff, in addition to dips, if you go to a potluck, what is the side dish that makes you happy? Like, what's the side dish that makes you giggle when you see it on the table?
Usually like a mustard potato salad, or if someone made real bacon baked beans.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or if someone made real creamy coleslaw. That's another good one. Those 3 things.
You don't see the coleslaw a lot at a potluck. Not these days.
No, not these days. Like a good creamy coleslaw will just make my day.
I might have to bring some for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine, I hate to say it because it's one that I always eat if it's there, but I'm not supposed to, especially now, is the Jimmy Dean sausage dip.
I've never, Jimmy Dean sausage dip.
It's literally like cream cheese and Jimmy Dean sausage melted in a little crock pot.
How have I never heard of this?
And you eat it with Fritos.
What the hell?
Right. So it's like salt on top of salt on top of salt. If you literally
Jimmy Dean sausage
take a chunk of cream cheese, a brick of cream cheese, or 2. I'd have to look it up. I'll look it up after the show and give you the recipe. It's like a brick or 2 of cream cheese, and then you fry up Jimmy Dean sausage, chop it in little bits like you would for gravy.
Yeah.
But instead of making gravy, you just mix it with the cheese, and it's a sausage dip.
Wow.
Yeah. Heaven on a plate.
Wow.
You would have to be careful, though. Well, it is pork, but it's still...
I can do pork without much issue.
Well, the problem is you'll eat the whole tub. Because I do.
Yeah, pork, bacon, bacon and, pretty much pork, bacon.
Every time my friend Jen makes
ham.
that dip at a thing and she yells at me that I'm not supposed to have it, and I'll have like one Frito, because low sodium Fritos are available They are really hard to find. I have not seen them in my area. You have to order them. That being said, there's always other chips and options there. So I'm literally finding the lowest sodium option. I will take a piece of celery, if need be, to dip in that Jimmy Dean sage.
Wow.
Dip. Just, yeah, it's amazing.
Never heard of that. What if you put a little bacon in with that?
It's so good.
That would be good.
And I have made, because I make my own sausage. So when I make my own gravy, because I love biscuits and gravy, I make my own sausage because the predominant ingredient in sausage is salt. So sausage on its own is high sodium. Yeah. But in all honesty, if you cook your sausage and get that Maillard reaction with the browning, you don't really need salt. Yeah. So I just add the red pepper flake and sage and thyme and make sausage myself. And I've made that dip myself. Oh. But yeah, you'll have to try the sausage dip.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But usually that's the one that makes me, yay!
I've never heard of that till right now.
Yep.
People, you've been holding out on me, man.
Well, I'll have now all these things I got to cook and bring stuff out. I wish I had more time. I have too many things going on.
I love like really like bacon, like actual bacon in bacon, not like that tiny little piece of pork that you get in.
The bacon bits is not bacon.
No, actual bacon. Yep. Baked beans. Love that. And Angelo's has here in the McHenry County area has wonderful of that. Just so good. And a good, like I said, the mustard potato salad.
My husband's a sucker for mustard potato salad.
God, I love that stuff.
And that mine, as of late, having to be creative with the dips and the sides that I make so that I can enjoy them. Yeah. And bacon is magic.
It's my magic word. It is. You want me to do anything? All you got to do is say, there'll be bacon.
There's bacon.
Yeah.
There's bacon.
There's bacon.
I have my in-laws got us bacon. I have like 5 pounds of bacon in my freezer right now.
Wow. You're so lucky.
I knew you would say that. I thought about that this morning when I was grabbing the chicken soup out of the freezer. That I just laughed because I was like, Pete would smile every time he opened my freezer. If he opened it up and saw the whole bottom shelf is nothing but pork. Yeah. From the farm, because we buy our pork from Hidden Marsh Farms. Normally that's where I get my pig from, and she's actually got another round coming up. And then the next shelf is like 8 million packets of bacon. I don't even know how many pounds it is. But that's the thing is I've had to get creative. So like you wouldn't think about it, but green tomatoes and zucchini as a gratin. Yeah. So you slice them up, add some cheese, bake it in the oven as a casserole. And it's amazing. I've even chopped it up and made it into a dip, and it's amazing. So you can get creative with these things and still have your dip, still have your side, still go to your potluck, still have your parties, all of these different things that you do and go to. So you can make that lifestyle change and stay consistent and be healthier and be better without giving up the things that you love. So like bacon, if you use less bacon and add the sun-dried tomatoes, like those egg bites I made you get the flavor and you get the bacon. So if you guys want to find us on YouTube, shaking. No, I'm losing shaking the bacon.
Find us on
21.6 the
we'll be
net.
shaking bacon.
My LoSo Lifestyle. Find us on YouTube. Subscribe. The more subscribers we have, the more we can do. Our websites and Facebook. And we will not be here next week. Unfortunately, I have appointments next week, so we will take a week off and we'll see you the week after.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in.
Shaking the bacon.
This has been Living Low Sodium with Mary Schepp. Shaking bacon.
Digging people out of bread. It's a good time. That's awesome.